Welcome to the Global Exclusive Podcast. My name is Bharos. This is episode 45 of this madness. And joining me today is, to my great chagrin, only Muspel and ShadoWalker, and Cotton and Dream are out. Actually, Shadow, I'm going to be honest with you. I was hoping it was just going to be me and Muspel.
I'm so glad that you're here, Shadow. So glad.
I had this whole romantic night planned out. I bought roses. You're just the third wheel.
Don't leave me alone with him, please.
I even shaved in multiple places.
So let's talk about the units this week. Or I guess we want to lead off with the NV rate buffs.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. So finally, right? That kind of also came out of nowhere. It wasn't really pre-announced. We just got to hear, hey, boom, 2% NV rates. Nice.
I have a theory about that. I think they listened to last week's podcast. Because last week we were talking about NV rates, I think.
You think we have that power? Shadow, you're so
Yes.
cute and naive. You sweet summer child.
Hey, who knows?
You know what I think happened? I think Gumi was like, oh shit, we haven't raised the rates yet? What the fuck? And then they just raised it. That's, I think, what happened. But it's nice.
We have a short agenda today, but if we have time, I want to get in some conversation about NV rates and gacha game. But anyways, we can talk about that later if we.
Sounds interesting.
Talk about it now while we're on the topic.
Yeah. What do you want to say, bro?
No, I think it's like I've expanded my gacha horizons. For a bit of background, FFBE was my first gacha game. It broke my virginity in gacha. It was the first, I guess, sort of mobile game that made me use my credit card. But then I think the way that FFBE is right now, and I've said this before, I feel like I'm parroting it, but like it's a bit outdated compared to the competitors out there. That makes me want to spend more. Right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And I think that's why they made War of the Visions. It's a bit more modern. It's a bit more predatory than FFBE is.
A bit. Just a tad.
And I mean, there's a lot of ways to be a good gacha game without it being a predatory mess that is War of the Visions.
Absolutely.
So I think raising the rates is a fantastic idea. But at the same time, there has to be a way for people and I think that I'm going to advocate this for this. No off-banner bullshit is the best feeling ever. So
Sure. I get that.
I feel like FFBE at one point needs to implement that, especially with the massive pull that is a 7-star. But 7-star isn't an issue anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like fucking EX tickets are a joke. Like
I don't mind off-banner stuff as long as it doesn't feel like it's coming at the expense of on-banner stuff. Like, I think that's part of why the Valkyrie profile banner was so bad, because they had so many on-banner units and they didn't do anything to compensate for the fact that each individual unit was so rare. But like on a single unit banner, I don't mind if we're basically just getting a bunch of off-banner units in addition to the normal on-banner rates. It's when they cram a bunch of stuff onto one banner and they don't adjust the rates that it bugs me.
I guess, yeah, that makes sense.
But it also sucks, especially when in the old times when we had 1% NV rate, if anyone still remembers that, it still sucked seeing an NV come down on banner and being off banner. That
never happened.
Wait, what do you mean never happened?
We had 1.25% NV rates as soon as we got off banner ones. The only time we had 1% was with Cloud, and he was the only one. Okay.
But I mean, that's kind of what I meant. What I meant was like it's super rare, right? And when you get the NV crystal, if that breaks into something else, it literally breaks your heart because it's already so rare.
Yeah.
The only thing that I think that would make this fair is if rates were higher, then it would be okay for you to get off-banner NVs, right? Because like there's a higher chance of it. But at 1% and even at 2%, it kind of feels like dumb. Like 2 in 100 chances for you to get something that is possibly what you want just feels a bit cheap.
Yeah.
So that's like the gacha aspect of it. But the other aspect of the game that I really didn't like, or still don't like, is like once you get a unit, it takes forever to get it going, right? So there's the fragments, and like you need to level it to 120, which is usually pretty easy. and then the fragments to get, or the pogs, I guess, to get the moves to level 5, or the moves that you
but
want to
that's
level
like
5.
30 minutes max.
That's 6 run to the dungeon, which is less than a day's worth of energy. It's really not that big a deal.
I guess it's not as bad as 7-star ever was, to be fair.
No. Well, I mean, no, like...
It is more work than 7-star.
But not, like, only marginally. The only difference is the Pog dungeons.
Yeah, the Pog thing, like, for an individual unit, is not bad. It's when you want to farm up enough Pogs for all the units that... Because then you're doing it for probably 2 or 3 days. Yeah,
thing is, I understand why Hazard quit. Like, being an obsessive completionist, he would hate, or he hated the Pog system, obviously. Because, I just do it for the units I have, and I don't care if I miss out, because I know that the banners are being rerun, so I'm getting my Pogs whenever they rerun, if I accidentally get something off banner, which happened with Gabranth. And
I figure we should probably also mention for our listeners that Pogs is a nickname for the insignia.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Muspel. Thank you. But okay, I want to get back to the whole discussion about like modern gachas, etc. Because I don't think rates are enough. Because I was so happy. So Google Play did their thing about like apps of 2020 bullshit.
Yeah, the game of the year type shit.
Yeah, you go into the store, you see all the apps, and I was very, very happy to see that Arknights was one of the games of the year. That was selected one of the games of the year. And I think that's super nice, because I think that Arknights has a very non-predatory gacha model. I actually don't know what the rates are, because this is not about the rates. In Arknights, it's more all about, well, with my limited knowledge of the game, I'm going to say I'm no theory crafter when it comes to Arknights, but that game is so much more about side grades and utility. Also, of course, that game is still in the phase where non-max rank units are actually, or non-max rarity units are actually still good and can be used for most or all content. But
that honestly seems to be the case for most mobile games I've played. Now, granted, I haven't played anywhere near most of them, but of the ones I've played, FFBE seems very unusual in that only the top rarity units are relevant. Usually in other stuff I find that's not the case, and that other stuff maybe isn't the best, but can at least like get to the right levels of stats and stuff.
Yeah, and that's definitely the case, and I feel that it's so fair, because the gacha system itself doesn't require you to jump through 3 hoops and fuck a bear in order to get your unit maxed. It's just like, oh, congratulations, here's a great unit, now you just have to grind to level it, which is like, in Arknights that's a big grind, but it's still like, you have a unit, you don't have to pull 15 more copies of it or whatever. And
one thing that I appreciated about Arknight... Oh, sorry, did I cut you off?
No. Go ahead.
Oh, okay,
I don't know where I'm going with this.
Oh, okay. One thing that I did appreciate about Arknight was that the gameplay itself, like the actual moment-to-moment gameplay, lended it to be that where you could just play your favorite-looking waifus, and it still works.
Okay, listen, why do you have to bring waifus into this, you pervert? All right, listen, we need to get back to FFB. I hear this is already a tangent.
Shadow, why are you trying to corrupt Bharos' pure mind?
Yes, please. Like, I am playing these games for the gameplay alone, and that's it. But we do, like, we can probably agree that FFB definitely needs a modernization, and it's, it's very difficult to modernize a game without remaking it when it has so many years behind it, right? And so many mechanics it still has to keep running. So it's difficult, right?
One of the core aspects of a lot of quote unquote modern gachas is like, beautiful artwork, splash art that like is on the front page that's marketable. And that's true for Arknights, that's true for Genshin Impact, which is a massive hit. That's true for World of Divisions even. But like the way that FFB and Record Keeper built itself is that it's a pixel game. So it's like you're looking at pixels. So it's like, I'm not saying that's bad, because there's like the beautiful CGs that we see every month, right? Which is fantastic. But at the same time, the moment-to-moment gameplay looks mundane versus whatever flashy shit Dragalia Lost is going on for it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think you have something there, because like you look at Arknights, of course, Arknights in game also looks like crap. It's just these tiny units that are like almost pixelated, so it's nothing exciting, right? But the thing is, the units have this beautiful artwork in the game. So you open the units page, you're greeted with a beautifully drawn, quite, like exquisite picture of your unit. And that gives you a bit of a nicer feeling for that unit. And it's not just all about the waifus, Shadow, so get your bullshit out of the gutter. Anyway, I do feel we need to move on because our listeners are leaving us. I can feel them leaving us because they're like, what the fuck? This is not the Arknights podcast. So let's move on. We can just agree, FFBE is a bit dated. So I've said this a couple of times. I am really hoping there's going to be an FFBE 2 soon. It's going to have maybe a bit more modern mechanics and bring some change to this game.
100% agree.
Yeah. All right, but let's actually move on to something where Muspel wants to contribute to. Let's talk about the units. Muspel, do you want to tell us about Lawrence?
Sure. Lawrence feels to me like a modernized version of Mercenary Ramza or Seacard. He's a cover tank where his covers have cooldowns. Now, unlike Seacard and Ramza, both of his covers have cooldowns, not just one of them. So he's very, very sensitive to dispels and deaths. And there's some fights, like Shinryu, where you just can't really use him at all. I guess on Shinryu you probably need 2 tanks anyways, but I still think he's not great for that. But what he does have is his covers that have cooldowns, they also apply 50% AoE general mitigation, which is pretty normal for tanks. Although magic tanks usually can't do that on turn 1. But more importantly, he has 40% to both typed mitigations on them. So he can cast one cover, then the one he actually wants and get both types of mitigations. So you could have a magic cover tank that gives physical mitigation, or a physical cover tank that gives magic mitigation. And of course, he's also giving the other one at the same time.
Yeah, and if it wasn't clear enough, he's actually doing that AoE. So he's giving that to your entire party, not just himself.
Yeah. So that's potentially very useful. Now, like I said, the fact that there's a cooldown there, if you're relying on, I guess I'm going to call it re-raise bombing, just letting your tank die every turn and re-raise them, which is something that you do on some future trials if you don't have an NV tank, because they just can't survive the damage.
I mean, we kind of did that on the fucking most recent trial too. No, but I already forgot what the fuck its name is. Double-headed dragon. I mean, you kind of did that every 4th turn. You just let your physical tank die and get re-raised.
Yeah, so he has problems. I think he's not as bad as some people are saying, but you want to be very careful about where and when you're using him, because even though he's strong, he's very strong in some ways, he can really just get you killed very quick if you don't know what's happening.
Yeah. And one thing to mention that you didn't say is that he actually has a break gauge skill with swords, so that's nice. He can dual cast
break
that.
Gauge.
Gauge. Oh, okay. My bad. Hey, listen, motherfuckers. English is not my primary language. Don't you bully me about this shit. Okay, wait. Say it again. So gauge. Okay, gauge. Right.
Yeah,
So he has
English makes no
gauge
sense.
ability. Yeah, sure, whatever. Break gauge with swords, and it seems to be lower, right? Because the standard is actually 5x, but he has 4x, right? Or am I misremembering?
I think it's 400% in. Oh no, yeah, XR has 500% increased.
Yeah, I think everyone has. I think Riku also has 5x on his break gauge.
I forget if that's plus 400%, so it would actually be 5x, or if it's just 4 times the base amount. Doesn't really matter that much though.
No, I was okay. Yeah, it could be just 4 times base amount. But so that's good. I mean, that's actually fairly decent because he can actually double cast that. So you do have if you don't have that for swords, now you do if you pull him. So it's not all about being sad about pulling him. Although I am gonna say that if you do have a physical tank and a magic tank, you're not gonna be super excited about Lawrence.
He does have a good TM. It's one of the very few non-STMR materia that has 40% HP. You have to use a light shield, but it gives 40% HP, 20% defense, and a little bit of wind and earth resist, which is
that's
very
nice,
good
actually.
for a materia.
I never looked at what he had, but that's actually really nice.
And his STMR is also great. It's a shield with 30% target chance and 20% evasion, so it's just a straight upgrade to Moogle plushie.
Oh, wow. That's actually very nice, too. It has decent stats, too. Shit, 65 defense, 65 spirit. So that's a nice STMR.
In terms of defensive stats, it's not really on par with the other STMR shields, but with the dodge
you're not
and draw
using
chance,
it for that.
makes up for it.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously it's a draw chance evasion item. So just having some stats on it is just positive because you might be taking damage through evasion anyway. So that's really nice. Nice.
All things considered, this unit isn't that bad, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
The way of looking at it.
he's reasonably good. I think this is what we should probably like want from 7-star units these days, which is units that are useful to new players, not completely irrelevant, and have good TMs and STMRs. But unfortunately,
that's a good
Alan
point.
usually fails to deliver on that.
I mean, that is a good point, because like if you're a new player and you pull Lawrence, you're gonna have a fantastic tank. I mean, sure.
You would need 2 copies. He doesn't get his covers until 7-star.
Oh, right. Yeah, okay. But if you get... Oh, God, fuck me, 7-star meta sucked. Yeah, you're right. You need 2 copies. But if you do...
Yeah.
All right, I think we've exhausted this unit. It is a good unit for new players, but let's move on to something maybe a bit more interesting. So, another tank, Charlotte, maybe.
Sacred Shield Charlotte.
Is a magic tank.
The second best magic tank in the game, and a very, very distant second it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm a bit disappointed with her kit, to be honest. Oh, sorry, take it away.
Charlotte doesn't really get much that's new. She gets like a racial mitigation buff and like a little bit of, and obviously higher stats, and then she can put a barrier on herself, and that's about it. I guess she gets like a Grandis ability for AoE magic mitigation. Her Brave Shift is kind of like, I would think of it as more of a cooldown, where when she goes into her Brave Shift, she just gets what are mostly better versions of a few of her skills, and just turbocharges herself, but it only lasts a couple turns, so...
Yeah, because she only has her Brave Shift for two turns, and then the cooldown is 6 turns. So you can't, like, the durations of the Brave Shift abilities are shorter than your cooldown back to Brave Shift. So
if she could maintain her Brave Shift, she would be really good. Like, she would still be worse than Phasey, but she wouldn't be as far behind.
Yeah.
Is it because of her LB on the Brave Shift?
Yeah, with the LB, she would hypothetically be able to maintain 80% magic mitigation on the party, which is very significant. But it would eat up half her turns, and you would eat a bunch of LB fill.
Unfortunately, her Brave Shift now turns into a oh shit button, which is, I mean, obviously it's not bad, but it's really, that's what it is. You go into Brave Shift if you're really expecting some big damage.
Yeah.
And then
the big thing that people are talking about with her is the racial mitigation, and there's actually 2 aspects to this. The first is an AoE 30% racial mitigation buff against demons and reapers, which is, I think, the biggest AoE racial mitigation buff we've seen so far. I could be wrong on that.
Sure. Sounds good.
I
like,
feel
what does
Refia
have?
So far have been really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Refia's is as big. I don't know. Anyways, 30% is pretty good. But the one that people are probably more excited about is the personal one, which is in her base form, she has a cover with 70% racial mitigation against those 2 races, and in the Brave Shift, it is 86%.
86%. That's a lot.
So in the Brave Shift, she's, I believe, the tankiest unit in the game against demons and reapers. In the base form, she isn't, or at least not, like, sustained, because Phasey still beats her, since Phasey can maintain 75% magic mitigation and Charlotte can't. Charlotte could become tankier for brief periods by using her own magic mitigation cooldown, but then it falls off and Phasey pulls ahead again.
Mm. And the thing is... Go ahead, Shadow.
No, go for it.
No, I wanted to say that she's still a very strong tank, especially if you pair her with a strong magic mitigator. Then she is still far from Phasey, especially not on Demon Reaper fights. But
there's not really many units you can pair her with that are better at magic mitigation than herself. She has 40% already. There's Luna Freya and Rena that have more, and that's about it.
Yeah, it's probably actually a pretty slim selection, you're right.
And they can't even maintain the bigger buff. I guess Aerith can, but if you're using Aerith as your healer, I feel sorry for you.
Oof.
Man, I would love to use Aerith as my healer, please. Please, Aerith. Why? Still haven't gotten her. It hurts my soul so much.
I was just going to say, it's kind of telling that Aerith, even as an NV unit, is a pretty terrible healer, and today's NVA healer is probably significantly better. So
Yeah,
but you're jumping the gun, okay? We're not about to talk about Fina.
When I look at Charlotte, I kind of look at her and I just see this is like the baseline of what I would expect from an NVA tank or an NV tank, which is that she's better than the 7-star tanks, but not really by a whole lot. And 80% of what makes her better is just the higher stats.
Yeah, true. But like, provided she does have this niche, so when we get this Demon Reaper trial, she is gonna shine. But yeah, the thing is, she's not gonna shine that much that you're gonna want to bring her over Phasey if you have Phasey, due to the fucking insane amount of shit Phasey can just do for your party.
Yeah, but it's not even just Phasey. Like, if you just gave Cecil NV stats, he would still be better than her, probably.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but she really didn't get a kit. That's the thing. Like she didn't get anything special in her kit. She just got upgrades, and it's kind of like a glorified awakening. Really, that's what she got.
Man, if Cecil ever gets an NVA, that would be fucking broken.
I don't think so. He's honestly so overshadowed by Phasey. He would need new stuff.
But
like, I mean,
he definitely will get new
NVA,
stuff, right? Like, if most NVA units get new things, and his kit's already overloaded as
tell that to Charlotte.
Yeah. See.
Okay. Yeah. I guess.
All right, but Charlotte, great. I mean, she's also really good for everyone that didn't pull Phasey. Now you actually get a really strong magic tank, so that's nice. But let's maybe move on to the next unit, which is the not an NVA. So we're saving a certain unit for last. So Fistalis.
So when you look at Physalis, it's really, really clear. I guess this is the first non-global exclusive hybrid unit, because you look at her TM and her STMR and her card, and they've all got attack and mage. So she must be a hybrid, right?
Yeah, right. Well, if you look at her STMR, you do get the hint if you look at the effect, because her STMR only gives magic spirit killer, so then you get it I get it.
I feel like this is one of those things that maybe the TM and the kit were developed by two different people or two different teams. I don't know. This is a wild theory after looking at her kit.
I think it's just about making it usable by several units. It's just a more attractive item.
I think that what happened is that there's somebody at Gumi that wanted to make a hybrid unit, and then somebody higher up overruled them when they realized that hybrid units are a pain in the ass to calculate and tune because the damage calculations are so complicated, and that there's no gear for them, so people don't like to pull for them. So they went with a mage instead, a mage who can't use mage gear. Great stuff. Brilliant idea, guys.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And a slightly better card than Elena, with 5 more base stat on both attack and mage. But, all these negative things we're saying does not change the fact that she bursts really, really strong. She's like Ibarra levels burst, right? Almost.
I don't think so.
Right? No? I was looking at the wiki sheet just before the episode.
I don't think the wiki has Ibarra's LB. Let me check, though.
Oh, okay, that would... What? Wait, but what's counting as burst, then?
It does have Ibarra's LB, but it doesn't... Oh, it's Ibarra's LB without external support. No LB damage buff.
Right, okay. And of course, Physalis has her own... Or she's not bursting with her LB, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So Physalis is kind of an LB-based unit, not in the sense that she uses her LB, but in that she needs her LB gauge to use certain skills, which she uses to ramp up.
She's like a carbon copy of Kuja, really. Or not a carbon copy, but she has the same type of mechanic where she dumps her LB bar into an ability that's also really strong.
Oh, sorry, of who?
Kuja.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean...
I think so. I never used Kuja, and I forget what his kit was like, but that sounds right.
Yeah, no, I mean, so Kuja does have the mechanic where he actually fills his own LB 3 turns in a row, so he can actually keep bursting. She doesn't quite. You want to go into her Brave Shift form to actually fill her LB and then go back into normal form and use her LB abilities to boost other abilities, basically.
Mm-hmm. She has the boost in her Brave Shift as well.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, well,
she
has 2 elements in each form, and one of the elements overlaps. And that's
ice, right. Yeah, exactly.
Ice.
Yeah, she has ice,
the
wind.
ice boost in her Brave Shift.
Ice and wind and ice and water.
Yeah, so she has actually 3 elements, which is quite nice. But the big drawback for me when it comes to, I don't know, mages nowadays is that I'm starting to realize just how limiting elements are, especially when we talk about DV. Although on the other hand,
having 3 elements does make her, I think, the most flexible NV mage yet.
Yeah.
Or at least
but
maybe the NVAs have more, but I haven't really kept track of them.
Right, but she still can't use rods where majority of the magic killers are. So good luck with that, I guess.
That is true. She does miss out.
If you have an upgrade package, you can fix that. But yeah, it's really not a good spot to be in.
Wait, isn't there... Wait, hold on. Am I thinking this the wrong way? Isn't there a TM that has like 40% mage and equip rod?
I think it's 20%. I could be misremembering that.
Okay.
But it's not great to be spending a materia slot. The nice thing about upgrade package is that it's relatively free to use.
Yeah, true. Yeah, there is a really good magic gun in this event for her. But again, that does not fix the problem she has with the killers, because we have many rods with magic killers on them, and that's actually
not that many. There's like 3, and they don't cover that many races, honestly. Like, it certainly hurts that she can't use them, but I think saying that that's where most of the mage killers live is not accurate.
Yeah, it's not where the most live, but it's, at the same time, it's where a lot of that's the most convenient way most people get mage killers, right? Yeah. So losing out on that just really hurts.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm
not going to defend her gear setup. It is not great. She can't even use robes, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that I mean, okay. So thing is, that's probably what you're saying, where this may have been a unit that was meant to be something else as she was designed, and then the switch was flipped in the last second because they realized we needed more mages.
As a hybrid, I'm not sure she would have made much more sense, though. Like, are these good weapons for a hybrid? Like, for throwing weapons, what, are you going to use Aces STMR?
Yeah, what about the gun? I guess there's... No, I can't think of a hybrid gun, actually.
I mean, we get one in this event. That's literally it. Well,
no, we get a mage gun. It's not a hybrid gun.
There is a dagger. The Ultima's STMR is a dagger.
There's original Physalis' STMR, which has 88 attack and 180 magic. There's Quicksilver, which has 172 attack and 80 magic. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, okay. Never mind then. Never mind. Crappily designed gear selection. But still, like, it sounds like we're shitting on this unit, but honestly, this is our second strongest mage right now. And she still bursts really, really hard. Okay, it's not Ibarra levels, but it's really, really... Like, she's still... I think she bursts twice as hard as number 3, right, on the list. So she's still very strong.
No, she bursts... Oh, sorry, never mind. I forgot there were 2 entries for Ibarra.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, about twice as hard as Sakura, who honestly can't really burst in practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess the question then becomes, like, if you have Ibarra, there's really no reason to pull for Physalis. Even if you get Physalis, the only reason you'd ever use her is for her elements, right? Because that's...
in DV, you might want multiple mages, but the problem is that they don't have any elements in common, so... Yeah. Like, Ibarra you use because there's basically no other mage that bursts hard. Fistalis, you would probably use her anyways right now off element, but in a month or two, probably not, once we've gotten some more units.
Maybe.
I mean, it is.
She's just one of the units where whales want her for DV in the short term, but other than that, she doesn't have a whole lot going on.
Yeah. I also feel that her CG is a bit weird. I'm not gonna lie, when I was looking at her CG, like, her face was not the face I had mapped to Physalis in my mind looking at the unit in the game. I don't know why, but she just does not look like Physalis, whatever. Nobody else that reacts that way? Fistalis, yes.
I really didn't care for the CG.
Okay. Nah, I don't know. I just, there was something weird about it. Anyway, not much more to say. So a great mage, CWA chainer, obviously, strong damage, 3 elements, quadcast mage, so that's okay, I guess. That's usually what they are, so it makes sense. And that's about it. She can also buff... Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, she's a fan favorite, so if she is your favorite, she's still worth pulling for and using.
Yeah, it's definitely. Just... I mean, again, it's worth using. Of course, she's like she's a non-limited mage that's actually super strong. Fuck Ibarra, she's a mistake.
The downside of pulling for her, I think, is that her TM and STMR are pretty disappointing. I guess the STMR is
and
okay.
The Terra's coming in like 2 weeks. That's also a huge downside in pulling for her.
I guess there's actually nothing wrong with her STMR, but her TM is bad.
Yeah. All right, so maybe we should move on. I mean, this is a good unit, but not much to say. She's not that interesting because she can only do damage, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So now we might. So let's actually talk about let's say the most powerful unit of the banner. I don't know how to call it, but
the most useful.
Yeah. NVA Fina.
Charlotte might be more powerful in an absolute sense just because magic tanks are so important, but Lotus Mage Fina is maybe the best healer in the game.
Yeah.
Hey, she's back on top.
So Sinzar must be really excited about this. Because
I actually logged in today because of this.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah.
I have 12 copies of Lotus Mage Venus, and I just made her into a +2, I think. Yeah. Just for her, just for today. So
a few weeks ago, we talked about Fultra, Summer Citra, and Fulka. And Lotus Mage Fina feels like them, except that Lotus Mage Fina doesn't have the missing bits of the kit that they had. So she has Raise, she has AoE re-raise that she can use more easily. She has Dispel, she has all the stuff that you would normally expect from a healer. And then she also has the Spammable Barrier. Hers is a little weaker. She's got elemental resists and stat buffs. Hers are weaker than Fultra's. But overall, she's more well-rounded than Fultra. And
she cures stops and charms.
Yeah, and Fultra, or like Charlotte, she has a Brave Shift that is essentially a cooldown. It only lasts one turn, but in her Brave Shift, she can cure Zombie, which makes her the only unit that can do that in GL right now. And then she's got a pretty strong AoE elemental buff, stat buff, AoE re-raise combined thing. So she just does a lot of stuff all at once, and it's very good.
It is, and it's super nice because I'm gonna say, and I think this is correct, right? She's our first real NV healer, like what you would expect from a full healer kit. She has it.
Yeah.
She has the full healer kit, and that's super nice.
Yeah, you could maybe make an argument for Fultra, but like I said, Fultra's kit is incomplete. So
yeah, and she has. It's just very, very nice. If you talk about specifics, the ability of just having 40% damage mitigation on your entire party, alongside with a 4K spammable barrier, super nice. She has, of course, all the ailment resistances. She can, as you said, Muspel, she can also remove zombie if that's a problem for you at some point in the game. She can even cure Stop and Charm when needed. And then she has, of course, her base kit. That was already good. She was already a good healer. I do want to point out
that she doesn't do break resist. This usually won't be that big a deal because most bosses don't do huge breaks.
Yeah, but the thing about break resist, I think it falls really low down the priority list of anything that a healer should be doing. If in fact, I don't know, I'll probably say it's one of the lower ones, but
I mean, it basically means that if the boss is breaking your team, it's probably for 30 to 50%. So it means that she's basically buffing stats for 70 to 90% instead of 120%. And you compare that to Fultra, who does 180% and has break resist, and you're looking at 100% difference in defense and spirit, which is pretty big.
Yeah.
But not on every fight, and you can still get break resist somewhere else. It's just kind of a pain.
The other thing that I'm really fascinated about, the lifespan of Fina, is that she came out as one of the best 6-star healers, and then 7-star came out and she was again really great, and then she's dropped off, and then enhancements, and then for a year she was pretty good, and then latent abilities make her really good again. She just never dies, and I feel like
she
this
keeps
is true
coming back.
And I feel like this is true for all the season 1 CG units, because I felt that about Laswell at one point. Because PG Laswell was kind of bad at 6-star, but then 7-star he was okay, and then you got enhancements and latents, and now this NVA is not bad, it's just not great anymore. But when NVA came out, so there's a level of love that I think Gumi likes to give to their OG CG units, which I think is great. No, Alim likes to give, because there has to be balance, right? There has to be a way for people who don't pull every month to still beat the game with older units, and I feel like this is one of the ways that they compensate, and I think that's a really good way to do it.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It's really a shame it took this long until we got a healer with a full kit. But she really has what we would expect of the NV meta, with big barriers that are spammable and just strong heals. I mean, you can't really ask that much more of a healer, because there was no real shift in the healer meta.
Dr. Aiden has been the best healer for over a year now, so something needed to happen.
I don't know how you can live your life being so wrong. It's so weird.
Dr. Aiden probably has the longest shelf life out of any of all units.
No, wait, no, Noel.
Oh shit! No,
No, I'm
we're
I'm
getting into
serious.
it.
White Knight Noel was top tier for like 2 years straight.
Yeah, but Muspel, nobody used White Knight Noel, so he doesn't
Yeah, because
count.
nobody pulled for him, but he was still really good. Like the first time he came
Yeah.
out, nobody
Is he?
even knew
Wait,
what a
wait,
promote
Muspel,
tank
Muspel.
was.
Did you say he's steel really good?
I hate you so much.
Oh my god, that was a good one. I feel like a dad.
Hold on.
Wait, I am a dad. Hold on. All right, great
that's Fina.
unit. We're super happy about that. Really am. Now this is a fantastic healer. So let's actually talk about the new trial that just came out as well. Has any of you played it yet?
I have not played the trial yet. I've been doing Dark Visions today, so.
Makes sense. Of course, Dark Vision is a temporary trial.
I just find it really weird that it took FFB this long to finally add a Tomberry to the game. And I'm not including Barrel, because Barrel's so fucking cheap.
Yeah, but did you see where Sinzar used Barrel to beat Tomberry? That was brilliant. Master move. That's what we call a pro gamer move. That was actually pretty cute. But it's an interesting trial. It's another we don't have that many, but it's another time or DPS race trial. So very similar to Demon Wall, you have just a limited number of turns to kill him on, and very similar to Demon Wall, there's also a delay mechanic where you hit him with wind, I think, to slow him down, or is it that you actually hit him with the right element on that turn? I actually don't remember. But you can. There's a slowdown mechanic. As you hear, I haven't done the trial myself either. I'm planning on doing that tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday for anyone that's listening to the pod and wondering. So it's a fun trial though. I like DPS trials. Unfortunately, this one seems to be a bit of a joke. So it's not like when we got Demon Wall. You remember you could take new DPSs to Demon Wall and see how many turns you could shave off. But it's not quite true with this one.
This one feels closer to Stag to me. I mean, again, I haven't done it myself, but looking
True,
at the
that's a good
mechanics,
comparison.
There's
Good
just not much
comparison.
Yeah,
going
but Stag
on.
is a joke.
Yeah, but so is Tomberry. Ish. I mean,
I mean, you need high
again,
damage.
Sinzar
But,
beat him with Barrel.
like, defensively, it seems like you can mostly just use re-raise and resists, right?
Yeah.
There is a no KO mission.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, so the big thing about this, big thing about this trial is that Tomberry imperils you a huge amount on the turn before he nukes you with that element that he imperiled for, right? So he imperils you for 200% water, and then next turn he beats you up with water. So either you gear your tank for 300% resistances to all, or you have to be dispelling. So people are using like buffers and or dispellers to keep your tank dispelled and ready to go, because then you can gear your tank for 100%, and then your tank can survive easily.
You could also gear for 300% to like one or two of the resists and then dispel the other one. So
Yeah, true, absolutely. And there's also like the thing is that 2 Tifas are more or less enough to kill the Tomberry by turn 5. So it's you don't even have to survive that many. You have to have water, earth. If you want to kill by turn 5, you need to have water, earth, and light 300% after buffs on your tank if you don't want to mess with dispels. And that's not that bad.
Reward-wise, unfortunately, I don't think this trial is great. It gives a dagger with high attack. It's actually the third highest attack weapon in the game, but it's a dagger, and there's not really great materia support for that typically.
Hey, NVAs a day, maybe.
And it also doesn't have a good item world rare. The dagger does give a cooldown skill that has a fairly high modifier, 75x, or at least high for an item. Yeah. But you can't use it until turn 5.
Turn 5, and it's 5-turn cooldown, so good luck with that.
And it's only 75x, and you can't triple cast it. So I'm not sure who the fuck would want this.
Nobody.
The reward for this feels a bit outdated, but that's just me.
There's also a materia, which, oh god.
I know, it's terrible.
If you use it, after 4 turns, Knife will get a slightly increased modifier, which is definitely worth the materia slot.
Yeah.
I guess you can put this on the base form.
No, but listen,
cast
it's
it,
cute.
And then you shift. But
it's the Tomberry materia, right? It's like after 4 turns, you get a huge damage buff to Kitchen Knife and a huge attack buff. So you kill someone by turn 4. It's just cute. It's thematic. it's not really useful. The same with the other material where you get like 50% attack with dagger and 30% water resistance. I mean, that's fine, I guess, for water resistance, but yeah, other than that, meh. But it's a new trial, and people have been beating it up with many different, and I really recommend Sinzar's video on the topic. It's funny to see how many units he tried the trial with. So yeah, I think that's about it for this week, right? Quite an eventful week, really, if we think about the NV rates. That's a super nice step in the right direction. I'm still happy about that. You know, it's going to make it like easier to pull more random NVs, because I really play this game in a non-strategic fashion. I just pull whenever I feel like it, and I do dailies every day. So, you know, I'm just happy when a random NV drops down from the sky. And this makes it even more likely that a random NV will drop down from the sky. So that's nice.
See, Gumi, you're reinforcing his bad habits.
Mm-hmm. I mean, are they really bad habits? I'm really enjoying it. Although
yes, they are.
I am still crying about
I don't know if
Aerith,
it's a bad habit. It's a non-optimal habit. I think that's the right word.
Yeah. I mean, you can't blame you can't blame my strategy. Okay, listeners, you should all play like I play. Why? Well, look at my roster. I have FaZe, I have Gabranth, I have Yoshi. What do I else have? Oh shit, I have 2 Kingdom Hearts units. Like, Jesus, you can't beat that. You know, just pull when you feel like it. And the game is fun. Huh, indeed. Alright, thanks everyone for listening this week to our bit of a shorter roster, but it was a lot of fun. I hope you thought it was a good episode.
We almost filled an hour. So, that's
cool. Yeah, true. Not bad. We could talk. Like, there was some stuff to talk about, the NB rates and shit. Yeah. Anyway, you know, like, give us your thoughts on the episode in the comments. Hit the bell, subscribe, you know, whatever. Send money to Muspel's mom. I don't know. And that's it for us this week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.